It was brought to my attention. I know we talked about Jalil Fields with his season-ending knee. It was brought to my attention. Y'all asked about Xavier Pegues as well. He had shoulder surgery. I don't know, it was 2 months ago maybe, and it slipped my mind. I apologize for not making y'all aware of that. He's expected back probably somewhere around late October, early November. So whether he makes it or not, don't know at this point in time. So those are the two guys that are out. Other than that, one day in pads, the energy was good. It was sloppy at times. It was physical at times. It was soft at times, so was happy with just the overall aspect of the practice. This afternoon will be the same type practice. You guys will see the first 30 minutes with with some stretch and some special teams, which I believe y'all saw that last time as well. But we'll do PAT field goal, and you'll be able to see some punt and stuff like that as well. So happy with the progress with the specialists. I think Mike Molina's doing a nice job for us. Billy Kenny's doing a nice job. John Young, the new guy's got a fantastic leg. Now, what happens when live bullets start coming at him? We got to figure that out. But just watching the ball come off of his foot and punt, it looks really good. Happy with the punt returners, just the bodies that we have back there. Guys can catch the punt. Again, that changes when bullets are flying at them. But we have guys that are naturally gifted at catching punts. So you'll see that, and then we'll get into a tempo period, which y'all see for about 10 minutes, which is just basically teaching our guys how to go as fast as they can, which means it'll look fairly sloppy, no down in distance at all, but just teaching the guys how to play fast. I think we do a decent job on both sides of the ball, being able to play fast and defensively handle tempo as well. So that's what you'll see. And then for the rest of the day, it'll be very controlled, no live situations at all. We're not ready for that yet. Still installing and still trying to get a grasp on what guys can do and what some of their names are, that sort of thing. So still very, very, very early in camp, but like the attitude, like the mentality with what our guys are doing. I think they're in fantastic shape. Just overall, Mike Joseph did, again, as good a job as there is in college football, getting our guys ready to go. And I think, the guys are doing great recruiting-wise. Couldn't be happier with the 31 new bodies that we have. These guys' bodies look good. I think our talent is getting better, and the attitude with which we approached off-season really shows, the overall health and athleticism of the guys that are out there is as good as it's been since I've been here. So that's where we're at. Take some specific questions if y'all have any.
Dana, with Pegues and Fields, concerned obviously with the depth in your defensive line?
Yeah, it's concerning. We moved John Lewis over. We moved Chase, Bearhart over, and we signed Brandon Lawless. So we did that for a reason. With doing that, we're 3 deep. So we got 9 bodies. They got to stay healthy. We can. Nose is a question mark, having a couple of young guys. Darian Howard's a really good player. We can move Christian down in there if we have to. We can move Johnny Lewis down in there if we have to. So got 9 bodies. You got Pooler, which gives us 10. Going to have to stay healthy.
Coach Gibby was saying that at least so far, the defense has been picking things up maybe a little slower than he expected going in. Have you kind of identified that so far? Have you noticed that happening?
Doesn't look like it to me. I worry about my side at this point when it comes to that. They're lined up. They're lined up. They're athletic. We're as coaches going to be critical. There's no question early, but I'm not worried about him getting guys to understand what to do. 3 practices into it, we got 26 more. That's the least of my concerns right now.
You talked about with Coach Wickline, he's helped move tackles to widen the line, and I assume that's a pass protection thing. Did you identify before you brought him in that pass protection was a need, especially with the tackles getting that width of the pocket? And when did you realize that's an area for
When I didn't call a drop back pass for like 9 weeks in a row. I mean, we're running the ball a good bit, but the passes that we threw, if you remember, was a lot of play action, downfield stuff or screens. So we were a very, very, very below average drop back passing team last year, and I've made it known to y'all, our staff, with hires, with how we practice, with the techniques that we're that we're coaching, to the type of plays that we're repping, to getting it through to our entire offense's mind that in order for us to take the next step offensively, we got to be able to do that better. So, I want to be able to throw the ball better, and we're working hard on it. That's a combination of the tackles getting better, the technique improving, Skyler and the other quarterbacks being comfortable in the pocket. I can't emphasize it enough. I mean, play one against Oklahoma, we run a drop back pass, and a free defensive end comes through the B gap and hits him right in the temple as hard as he can. If you don't think that affects the way a quarterback plays, you're out of your mind. So we're going to get that fixed, and it looks a lot better. And then the timing aspect with the quarterbacks and where the receivers are, that's getting better and better. There's a lot that goes into it.
Dana, with that said, your right tackle looks like you got a nice competition going there. Speak to Lazard and Colton McKivitz.
I think Marcel had his best practice that he's had since he's been here yesterday. So I'm happy with his effort and his determination. He's going into his junior year. He probably got thrusted into the lineup a year earlier than I wanted him to. A guy like him that was a developmental guy that had to work on his body and get in shape and learn and be comfortable and confident and all that usually takes until about his junior year to figure that out. So he kind of got thrusted in there a little bit too quick when Yodney went down last year. Colton's the type of guy that's like Yodney, high school basketball, long, underweight, athletic, that grows into a tackle spot quicker than anticipated. So we're really happy with him. He's smart. He's able to flip back and forth. We don't want to mess with Yodney on the left side. He's really good, and then we don't want to mess with Marcel because he's really comfortable on the right side. So Colton's going to be able to do this and give us depth at tackle that we haven't had in a while. But if Colton's better than Marcel, we're going to start him at right tackle. So.
Coach, you talked about being comfortable with Mike Molina at kicker. How have you seen his confidence grow from when he first found out he was going to take over the job for the first couple of weeks until now?
Well, my stance on kickers, I don't talk to him very much, so I don't know what his mentality was prior to like the other day. He looks good. I mean, I'm picking, of course. I mean, he looks good. He looks comfortable. Josh is working himself back into shape. If Mike goes out and he's knocking that thing through the uprights a bunch the first 3 games, then it'd be silly to uproot that. So, but we've never seen Mike in live situations. Josh has got a history of being able to knock through big kicks as the clock is winding down. So it'd be fun to watch it, and we'll chart it, we'll evaluate it, we'll see where they're at all camp. It's Mike's job for 3 games, and then we'll reevaluate it after that.
Dana, how much did Drayvon improve from his freshman to sophomore year, and early on in this camp? Are you seeing similar progress from year 2 to year 3?
Yeah, he was pretty steady last year. That first year he was, hit and miss. There's some things that was concerning that first year. The fact that he was out there on the field, as a freshman was impressive. Last year he was much more steady. This year he's much more confident, and he's overtaken the leadership role that Carl and KJ had. That was a concern going into the year. I mean, you lose some guys that are NFL guys, but we replaced them with guys that I think are equally as talented that just doesn't have the overall experience, for the exception of Drayvon. So he looks great. I mean, he's talking. He's he's leading those guys. Jeremy Tyler's another guy that I've seen being vocal. That's leading. I mean, he's going in. He's going to be a senior. He shouldn't have played his first year. He wasn't quite as ready as Drayvon was, but he's improved over the last couple of years. So the leadership that we lost with KJ and Carl, I've been happy with where Drayvon and JT are at this point in time. The key is going to be when it gets real hard. When it gets really hard, you knew what Carl was going to say and you knew what KJ was going to do. And that's what we got to make sure that those guys understand, which they're on track to do.
Bringing 4 new coaches in is a big turnover in a coaching staff. How do you integrate everybody and get them on the same page and working together?
It's really not uncommon in college football. It's not ideal. I mean, you want continuity. I mean, there isn't a coach in the country that says I don't want continuity. You want continuity. The good news is the continuity that we have on offense and defense from a scheme is good. So we got a lot of guys that have been in this program that we're going to be counting on to play for us on both offense and defense that have been hearing the same thing terminology-wise, schematically, for offense 5 years and for defense for going on to, what's this, the third year, I guess, going on the third year. So that's probably more important than not having continuity when it comes to coordinators and stuff like that. So I like how those guys are interacting. If you look at it, I mean, obviously me and Wickline have a history and we know what each other wants. Me and Coach Carrier have a history and we know what each other wants. Defensively, Coach Capone and Gibby have a history and they know what each other wants. So that eases the gap a little bit. Blue's kind of the new guy that comes in that has to learn kind of what we want, but his expertise is the technique aspect of it. And he's as good as I've seen at it. He gets out there, and both him and Carrier it's kind of fun to watch. They come to practice in cleats. I don't know if I've seen that from a coach. So they both come to practice with cleats, and they're showing the guys what to do, and they're doing the drills with them. Which I know that rubs off with the players from a technique aspect, So we could be in a much worse situation when it comes to continuity.
Then you lost a reliable blocking tight end in Cody Flagg. New guys in that position, what have you seen out of them? Do you have to sort of change your thought process and how you use tight end?
Yeah, we use Cody a lot based on fifth-year senior, played a lot of snaps. If you look at guys that have played snaps, you got Eli. So a lot of the times that we would probably go 11 personnel, it's still really 11 personnel. It's just that guy may not be attached. I mean, Eli's not a guy that can be attached. Cody got so damn big that he was a guy that we really didn't want in the backfield very much. Okay, so you kind of play to your strengths a little bit with that. We may be a little bit more of a 20 personnel team instead of 11, but it's, schematically it's all the same stuff. Too early to tell with these guys. Wesco, first play of inside drill yesterday, twisted his knee and is out for a while. So I don't know. Stone went in yesterday and had his best day of practice. And Stone I treat something similar to a young offensive lineman where you just say, go graze in the cafeteria and go spend a lot of time in the weight room and get real big and then we will start repping you when you're ready. And liked what he did yesterday. So, we'll figure out who our best players are, and if that changes kind of what the personnel breakdown is, then who cares? It's relatively the same plays based on different personnel.
With Wesco, is that for a while? Just
Don't
part
know.
of camp?
He's in a brace. You won't see him today.
Coach
I
Carrier-
know it's non-surgical. I just don't know what the timetable is.
Coach Carrier said that Gary Jennings is his most dependable wide receiver right now because he can play inside, outside. What have you seen, different from him?
He hadn't practiced in 2 days, so I hadn't seen a whole lot. he tore. I mean, I don't know who threw it because none of our guys threw it real hard, but he caught it and it tore that little web right there. So he didn't practice yesterday. So he ain't reliable to me. Mathis is reliable. You know, he's a fifth-year guy that plays inside, plays outside, knows what to do. You know, DeKeel's reliable. He practices through a lot of stuff. He might have a hamstring, but he goes out there and he continues to practice. He plays inside, 2 positions. He'll go outside and play. Those guys are reliable. Gary fits that mold. I mean, he played outside last year. We played inside during the spring. He went inside all during the summer. He's back outside. So I agree. He's reliable. He's big. He can make plays. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He's incredibly dependable when it comes to catching punts. I just want to see him practice.
How do you use Michael Ferns? Is he just the backup to Eli, or do you use them together at times?
We don't know. You know, he didn't block very good yesterday. Eli went down too. He's got an ankle. He'll be fine. This is part of camp. You're going to see guys on the sidelines. If they're out, I'll let you know. But guys, you know, Eli went down yesterday too, so so Ferns went in and got a lot of reps, and he needs to block better. So, you know, once these guys show us what they can do and the level that they can do it at is when I start making decisions on what our personnel groupings are going to be come game planning for Missouri here in a couple weeks.
And the landscape over here is changing as far as what this entire facility looks like. We get to get a tour later on today.
In the stadium?
Yeah, what you and the practice field and everything, but what you've seen as all this comes together and things really start to change around here, and how important that is, you know, to you as the head football coach in this program.
Yeah, it's rewarding, refreshing. You know, I've been saying for a long time, I just want to be able to do my job. You know, I'm not talking about recruiting or any of that, just from a day-to-day operational standpoint. You know, obviously this is very functional. You know, we still got to get the meeting rooms functional because we still got to break up into position groups. And it's not fun to have to talk over Coach Crook, trust me. The practice field's just great. I mean, you see our kids. We'll be in the indoor, you know, about 5:25. You'll see them take the field, and there's genuine excitement and energy about getting there. So, you know, we got space and we're able to do everything that we want. We're able to practice the way we want to. That's all I've ever asked. Now, you know, when did they announce this bond for the stadium? What was that, like 2 years ago? 3 years ago. I walked it for the first time yesterday. So I mean, that's for the fans. That's great. I mean, and I walked it. I went down here and I went up where the Orange Bowl thing is, that banner, that Orange Bowl, and I walked up and I walked through it and I go, wow, this is pretty clean. It's got space, and I know there's a whole bunch of restrooms and concessions and all that, which makes the fans' experience better. You know, and there's TVs everywhere. I saw those outdoor suites. It's great. They actually poured concrete and it was level, you know, and the fence, the outside fence was cool. Coming into the stadium, I think it's going to give our fans the same sense that it gives our players when they hit that practice field. Just, you know, it's going to be exciting. And then I made the mistake of coming in walking around the stadium and coming through the backside. And you forget how it is. It's unbelievable. I mean, so then I walked back around this way, and I walked it back this way to come back in, and it's like, wow, this is nice now. So the fans are going to be excited. I mean, it's going to be good. It's how it should be, and we're getting better and better.